Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time to burst a few bubbles when it comes to the next update. Obviously we've had a bunch of leak lists talking about different vehicles that have been turning up, and also some of those vehicles have had devlogs showing quite a lot of promise in the leaks. But our boy Smin, the community manager, has come down and laid down the law when it comes to the War Thunder forums, talking about what is coming and what isn't in the next update and also future updates too. It's worth noting that Smin is a community manager. This means he's basically a liaison between the development team and the community. Generally, he has a lot of insights about many different things and also is sometimes used as a mouthpiece to be able to get the thoughts of the developers out, which means he's an incredible person to follow when it comes to the War Thunder forums. So I'll leave a link to his profile in the description, and you can learn some stuff about it. But in this video, we're going to talk about the leaks, what has occurred, what is probably not going to occur, and based on his thoughts. As always, if you enjoy this content, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. So one of the things that gets a lot of people hyped up real quick, especially when they end up in the wrong place, is of course a new American jet. And one of the things that was talked about for this update was the idea that the A-18 was going to come out. This was leaked by a bunch of different leakers and also pushed forward by people like myself. And the reason for this is pretty simple. A lot of people would be incredibly hyped for something like an FA-18, and also it's the next logical step when it comes to War Thunder and the American nation. But the kind of tidbits that didn't really make a lot of sense was, of course, it coming to Switzerland in the form of the German tree, which would have caused a rebellion in general. And since that rumor started going around, and also leak as well, since this was, shown by people who have been pretty trusted in the past, it was time for Smin to kind of bring the hammer down. So, over the last few days, mainly the last day, he's been making a bunch of posts about the Hornet itself, using the rumor roundup and discussion kind of forum post. The thing about the rumor roundup and discussion thing is basically one of the things that I noticed with the Tech Hub, and then also just every other social media platform, you can make a bunch of rooms which are completely designed for different things, and what people do is they'll all congregate into one of them and just do all those things in that one room. We actually had an issue in the Tech Hub a few years ago where people would post memes in the meme room and then people would start talking about politics in the meme room, and we just said, look, just move it to the general chat. You can talk about whatever you want, just move it over there so therefore it doesn't cloud the room. And the problem with this is it was as if we'd infringed on their individual rights and the fact that, oh, well, you can't stop us talking here, and it just made it worse. So what ended up happening is we just changed the name of the room, and then, hey, presto, it pretty much fixed it. The rumor roundup and discussion thread is literally just the one where everybody goes to talk about anything on the forum. All of the rest of the forum is not great or useful. Some of it obviously is the suggestion area, but most of the conversations about War Thunder take place in that rumor roundup and discussion part between about 10 or 20 people, depending on what's going on. So that's usually where Smin responds, and also other people do. So the first post to look at is pretty simple. Smin said, as we have already answered, a Hornet of any kind was never planned to come this update. So, no Hornet. This is probably a good thing, because if it had come in the Switzerland subtree for Germany, everything would have fallen apart. It probably wouldn't have been great, but at the same time, it's something that is really nice to see. Now, the other thing also is if you look at the history of War Thunder with the F-16, the F-15, and also other vehicles, usually these vehicles come in later in the year, not necessarily September, but the November update or the December update in line with Christmas, so therefore they can sell you a high tip premium around Christmas or around the anniversary sale in order for you to want to grind that thing. So it coming out in September would have been very surprising, and now we know it's not going to. Not in any form, the Hornet. And for further clarification, which I think is incredibly important for people to see, is basically he also confirms that the Hornet is globally known as an iconic American aircraft. There are quite literally movies about it too. It's in the same league as the F-16, 15, and 14. There was no way another nation would get any of them before America. So now, when we know the A-18 is announced, it will go to America. And that should have been pretty obvious too, because of the fact, as I said in the previous video, if the A-18 came to anybody else that wasn't America for an update, there would have been fires which were put out, or which were not put out, which were started all over the place. You would see the great nuclear explosion that is the American community. People think that, like, the German part of the community, when they feel like they've been, blasted by something, they feel hurt, they feel like they've, taken a greater justice, like the fact that they got the F4F ICE, or, they didn't get some random vehicle like the KF-41. You think that's bad? You have not seen anything yet. Because America, as a nation, and as a general community in War Thunder, if they didn't get one of their iconic vehicles and it got given to a rival nation, you would see this game burned to the ground. It would be a terrible decision, and it is not a surprise to see them come out. And even before, even when the rumors are going around, even when the leaks are going around, they're just making sure to put out all the fires before they already start, because they have already started, and the vehicle is not confirmed for this update, and it is not coming this update. So they would have to deal with months of these rumors, which would then start growing, start accumulating, and then a bomb would go off. It would be insane. So so that's basically why they've come out already and be like, look, we're not doing this. Like, just understand it is not happening. Another thing that Smin did say, though, is naturally we do have plans for a new German top aircraft, but there will be a period of time, as most other nations have experienced, where they will be without one. Unfortunately, some nations don't have direct counterparts at every instance in time. And this is something that's happened all the time in War Thunder, but the problem is when it happens to a major nation, it is now a problem. If you have a look at, France for the longest time had issues at top tier. They even do right now when it comes to ground and also naval. But once again, because France isn't majorly played, that is not too much of an issue. There are other nations which struggle in a lot of areas of their tech trees, but because, once again, they're not a nation that the vast majority of people play, it doesn't get talked about. And it's one of the saddest things that I have discussed over the years, where minor nations don't get the same parity as major ones. So the fact that now, Germany has a problem where they don't have the best vehicle at top tier, now it's going to become a problem, right? But in the future, they will get a very good vehicle. It'll turn up. They'll have a great time. And everything will be awesome. You just have to be patient. But one thing that I've learned in War Thunder, and also just in general life, patience really is not something that in the internet age exists. Instead, it is just growing annoyance until that kind of annoyance can be quelled by whatever is added. And then it just starts building up again. And right now, we're in the build-up period for Germany. And it's going to eventually get to a point where something will explode. But at the same time, we'll have to wait a little bit longer for that, especially for the German plans that are coming in, which aren't discussed here, but I will discuss in the future. Another part, Smin says, which is very important, until this moment in time, Germany had no need of a subtree, unlike other nations, Italy, UK, etc., to fill gaps, as it had one of the most comprehensive and filled trees in the game. Many other nations have had periods of time where they did not have a top fighter jet or top tank, because they simply had nothing during those periods. Britain had to have the Phantoms for many years, Italy Starfighters, and others before that. Unfortunately, this is a period of time where Germany is now at this section in a gap between the F4F ICE and its next jet. It won't be as much of a wait as other nations have had in the past, but there is going to be some time before the next top jet. Yep, and as I said, usually when it comes to other nations which aren't as majorly played, you don't hear as much of a ruckus about it. But because it's Germany, and because Germany is one of the major ones, you're going to hear about it all the time. They're never going to shut up. They're just going to keep telling you how oppressed that they are, that they don't have the best top-tier vehicle. Just like even with the Leopard 2A7, like when the Hungarian 2A7 came out, there was a bunch of German guys who were like, why does Italy get the KF-41? Why do they get the 2A7? Why can't we have these things? Well, maybe other nations need a bit of help. Maybe those guys over there, maybe they don't want to be stuck on an Ariete. I don't know. Maybe we could have a bit of parity. But that doesn't matter to the standard person. What matters is what is coming to their nation for that given update, right? And that is what is important. But the main thing to take away from these statements, and also many more that we might talk about in the future, about decisions, that Gaijin have made, is that the A-18 is not coming in the next update. There's also, probably not going to be the Swiss subtree stuff either, which won't come in too, but a lot of the other leaks seem to be hammered on pretty aggressively. So, it'll be nice to see the devlogs and hopefully the teaser trailer pretty soon. My guess is the teaser trailer will come out this week or next week. I'll make sure to cover it all for you, and we can have a look together. Let me know what you think about this. Do you think Germany does need a subtree to try and help out some of those jet ranks? Or do you think patience is a virtue, as Oscar Wilde wrote in The Picture of Dorian Gray, my favorite book? As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.